American Pharoah, breathtaking in a mesmerizing performance.
Joaquin Jaime, Gina Bacola back with you on Racing Coast to Coast on TBG. 9 days away to the Belmont Stakes on June 6th. It's time for American Pharoah Confidential as we update you on your Derby and Preakness winner for Mr. Zayat, Bob Baffert, and Victor Espinoza. And after the Preakness win, Gino, he went back to Churchill Downs.
Smart. Very smart.
Yeah, which Bob Baffert has done before with a lot of his other Kentucky Derby winners, being Silver Charm, Rule Quiet, and War Emblem. He shipped them all back to Churchill Downs, so they have that in common. But one thing that's pretty cool is at Churchill Downs, they have a special training hour for the Belmont Stakes contenders and American Pharoah, and you can also catch them on this enormous video board.
And Mr. Zayat and Justin have been just raving about how good Churchill Downs was this year.
Yeah.
Because remember last year there were a lot of complaints about Churchill Downs and the PR and just the way everything worked with some of the connections. That was not at all the case. You can see Justin's been tweeting about it. You can tune in and watch American Pharoah train every day. So they've been unbelievably accommodating, and they've done a great job. I know Mr. Zayat and Justin, they've been very, very happy with all the accessibility there. And what it does, Joaquin, you get out of New York until the last minute when you need to be there. No buzz. You don't need a few extra 100,000 people looking at the horse each and every day. It's nice. He gets to kind of be a horse for a little while.
Yeah.
He was able to fly under the radar for a few
Keep it
days
as quiet
at
as
Churchill.
possible for him.
I like that idea. It was a great job by the Zayats and Bob Baffert to make that decision.
Well, let's take a trip down memory lane. As a 2-year-old for American Pharoah, we go to a video tweet in just a second here of him on the racetrack. The Zayats were out there. There was a couple trainers that were out there on the racetrack as well, and the guys at McCathlin Brothers. They've had some good horses that they had as very young horses go through them, including Silver Charm and Real Quiet, both for Bob Baffert. But look at this video, Gino, of American Pharoah. There was just a few select people, I should say, that went out to watch American Pharoah train. And there was so much buzz around this horse based off this work that he had here as a 2-year-old in training workout. All of a sudden, he's just jogging along, and then boom, just takes off.
I had the privilege in the last couple years to become, just from being on TVG and back and forth, and become a pretty good friend with Mr. Zayat. I will talk sometimes, and he told me before this horse ever ran, and this was when Mr. Z had already been running as a 2-year-old. He said, I have 2 very good 2-year-olds. First, he said El Kabir, who's going to run next week for Terra Nova. And then he said, the one on Sunday I think is going to be my best, and that was American Pharoah. And the messages immediately following his debut were also interesting, and I have them all. And right before, when American Pharoah won the Derby, I copied and pasted them and sent them back to Mr. Zayat, and I said, remember these messages from August of 2014? He said, I don't know what happened, Gino. I promise you, this horse is so good. We have such high hopes. I think he might be the best 2-year-old, and he's one of the best horses we had. I promise you, we know this horse is good. And sure enough, he's won every single race since then. So they knew what they had very, very early on.
All right, lastly, we'll take a look at the financial news leader in CNBC. They're going to get involved in the Triple Crown as well, Gino. They're going to be airing a special, in-depth, behind-the-scene look at American Pharoah's Kentucky Derby and Preakness runs. And Justin Zayat, Mr. Zayat's son, who's the stable manager for them, he's going to be heavily involved in this feature, working with CNBC. And he recently just graduated, an econ graduate from NYU.
So Justin, this is going to be massive for him because you got a good-looking guy who's young, who's sharp, who just graduated
That's what
from
he's talking
NYU.
about, yeah.
And he knows his horses. Him and his dad, Mr. Zayat and Justin, together, they make the decisions. Obviously, they're always talking with their trainers. And what I thought one of the most impressive things was they actually got 3 horses that were in the top 20 for the Derby for 3 different trainers.
Right, yeah.
You had Mr. Z, who was at that...
Unfortunately, one scratched out.
And one scratched out the day before, but you had El Kabir for Terra Nova, you had American Pharoah with Baffert, and then you had Mr. Z with Lucas. And so they know what they're doing. They run such a great program, and Justin's gonna be a star for a long time. I mean, he's young, and his future is as high as you could possibly imagine. They're in great shape right now, and it would be fun a week out, Joaquin, right? Like a week and a half out.
All right, that's another edition of American Pharoah Confidential, 9 days away from the Belmont Stakes on June 6th. as American Pharoah seeks to become racing's 12th Triple Crown winner.
American Pharoah, breathtaking in a mesmerizing performance,